December 1st, 1948. Adelaide, Australia. A man is found dead on a beach. No identification. No labels on his clothes. No cause of death. And inside his pocket, a tiny scrap of paper with 2 words written on it. 2 words that would turn this case into one of the most baffling mysteries in history. It was a warm summer evening, just after sunset. A couple was walking along Somerton Beach near Adelaide. The man noticed something unusual. A well-dressed man, lying against a seawall, one arm extended, a half-smoked cigarette resting on his collar. At first, they thought he was sleeping, maybe drunk. But when police arrived the next morning, they realized this was no ordinary death. The man was about 45 years old, 5 feet 11 inches, physically fit. No signs of struggle, no wounds, no blood, just dead. He was wearing a suit, a tie, polished shoes, even a clean-shaved face. Everything about him suggested someone who took care of himself, someone with a purpose. But here is where it gets strange. Every single label had been removed from his clothing. The name tags, the manufacturer's tags, even the tags from his tie and his shoes. Someone had gone through every piece of fabric and carefully cut out every identifying mark. His pockets contained almost nothing. A pack of juicy fruit gum, a box of matches, a pack of cigarettes, a comb, a bus ticket, a train ticket, but no wallet, no keys, no identification, nothing that could tell anyone who this man was. And then they found the scrap of paper. It was hidden inside a secret pocket in his trousers, a tiny, tightly rolled piece of paper. When investigators unrolled it, they found 2 words printed on it: Tamám Shud. It took weeks to figure out what it meant, but finally, a librarian in Sydney recognized it. It was Persian, from a 12th century book of poetry called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The phrase means, "It is finished," or "the end." But here is the strangest part. This wasn't just any copy of the book. It was a very rare edition. And when police finally tracked down a man who had found a copy of this exact book in his car, they discovered something even more disturbing. On the back cover of the book, someone had written 5 lines of random letters. A code, a cipher, that has never been cracked. The letters were WRGOABABDMLIAOIWTBIMPANETPMLIABOAIIQCITTMTSAMSTGAB 70 years later. The best code breakers in the world. Military intelligence. Computer algorithms. Nobody has been able to decipher what these letters mean. And that is not even the most unsettling part. When the autopsy was performed, the pathologist found something that made no sense. The man's organs were in perfect condition. His heart, his lungs, his liver. Everything looked healthy. There was no sign of disease, no sign of trauma, no sign of poisoning. But his stomach was full of blood. His spleen was 3 times its normal size. And his body showed signs of something the pathologist had never seen before. The official cause of death was listed as unknown, but the pathologist privately believed it was poison. A poison so rare, so sophisticated, that it left no trace. A poison that could kill a man without leaving a single clue. Some experts suggested it might have been something like digitalis, or a rare nerve agent, or perhaps something that doesn't even have a name. And then there was the man's body itself, his feet. The coroner noticed something odd. His toes were pointed, as if he had been a ballet dancer, or someone who wore pointed shoes regularly. His calf muscles were unusually developed. Was he a dancer, a spy, someone who had spent years training in a very specific way? Nobody knew. 4 months after the body was found, police discovered something that changed everything. The train ticket in the man's pocket. It was unused, but it led them to a woman, a young nurse. She lived near Somerton Beach, and when police showed her a photograph of the dead man, she almost fainted. She told them she had met him once, on a train. He had tried to speak to her. She felt uncomfortable and moved away. That was the only time she had ever seen him. But here is what made investigators suspicious. When they searched her apartment, they found a copy of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, the exact same rare edition, with the same code written on the back. She claimed she had received it as a gift from a man she didn't know, a man who had died before she could return it. Was she telling the truth, or was she hiding something? Police questioned her for hours, but they could never prove she was involved. She married, had children, and lived a quiet life until her death in 2007. On her deathbed, she was asked one final time about the Somerton Man. Her response? She smiled and said nothing. So who was the Somerton Man, and why did he die? Over the decades, dozens of theories have emerged. Some believe he was a Soviet spy, operating in Australia during the early years of the Cold War. The code in the book? A secret message. The poison? A professional assassination. The missing labels? Standard spy protocol. Others think he was a jilted lover. The nurse was the woman he loved. The book was a gift. The poison was suicide. Tamám Shud was his final goodbye. Some researchers have suggested he was a former ballet dancer who had fallen into espionage. His pointed toes, his muscular calves, his elegant appearance, everything fits. And then there are those who believe the answer is even darker, that the Somerton Man was part of a secret government experiment, that he was killed because he knew too much, that his death was covered up by powerful people who wanted the truth buried forever. In 2021, his body was finally exhumed. DNA testing was performed. For a moment, the world thought the mystery would finally be solved, but the DNA results only created more questions. No living relatives could be found, no match in any database. The man who died on Somerton Beach in 1948 remains nameless. The Somerton Man case is officially closed, but for those of us who believe every story deserves an ending, it will never truly be over. Maybe one day someone will crack the code. Maybe one day someone will come forward with the truth. Or maybe some vaults are meant to stay locked. If this story gripped you, if you felt that chill down your spine, then you are in the right place. The Story Vault opens every week with a new mystery, a new truth, a new story that the world forgot. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and the next time we unlock a vault, you will be the first to know what is inside. Until then, keep wondering, keep questioning, and remember, some stories are buried, but they are never truly gone. This is the Story Vault. See you next time.